Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
It's right here in the heart of Fallujah, where hundreds of Iraqis line up every day.
David's correspondent and U.S. Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Amy Forsythe spent some time with this MIT unit near Ramadi. Here's the scoop.
We're only halfway through our patrol right now, and the Iraqi soldiers have set up a vehicle checkpoint. This is where they get to learn how to do vehicle searches and look for suspicious activity. We're on a small road that parallels the main supply route just outside Ramadi. It's a real hot spot right now. I'm Marine Staff Sergeant Amy Forsythe with your Pentagon Channel report. West Point graduate and former Army Ranger Kelly Perdue teams up with Donald Trump to promote the military. Hello, I'm Amy Forsythe, award-winning journalist and author, and I am beyond grateful to be here with you today to be included in Passion Vista's Who's Who of the Industries, class of 2023. It's a tremendous honor for me, and I feel so fortunate to be sharing this platform with other global contributors and leaders. And as a journalist and storyteller, I want to share this saying: if you can see it, you can be it. As a powerful.
Today's the day where Vice President J.D. Vance is coming to Camp Pendleton, and the Marines here are excited. There's going to be thousands of people. Marines plus their families are going to come celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps.
All right, like the Marines say, hoorah, and the sailor in me, ooh, yeah. All right, today's going to be a very, very special show. I have a very, very special guest. I don't think she needs any introduction. But before we get started, let's do our moment of gratitude. As is our custom here, every time we meet, we want to make sure we are grateful for at least one thing. So if you would close your eyes if you can, put yourself in your happy place and take a deep breath if you must, and think about one thing you are grateful for today. I think today I am so grateful for the gift of life. I am grateful that I am still alive today, because as long as I'm alive, there is hope for me. So let us know what you are grateful for. Let us know where you are watching from, which city, which state, which country, and also if you have a question for my guest, please type it in the comment. So let me see if I can do this introduction need justice. So I'm going to be talking to Lieutenant Commander Amy Forsythe, U.S. Navy, retired, who also was a former Marine Staff Sergeant. I guess they say, no, once a Marine, always a Marine. But Amy is an award-winning military journalist, author, public affairs officer, whose career spanned more than 3 decades across the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy Reserve. Originally from Santa Rosa, California, she joined the Marine in 1993 as a combat correspondent and went on to complete 5 combat deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. As an author, Amy published Heroes Live Here, a tribute to Camp Pendleton Marines Since 9/11. And I absolutely encourage everybody to purchase the book and even get a signed copy. So a deeply personal and visual tribute to Marines who have served since the global war on terror. In her civilian and veteran advocacy role, she supports numerous nonprofit and veteran service organizations. We're going to be hearing about some of them today, and serves on boards and brings her leadership and narrative expertise to community and media forum. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let us welcome the one and only Lieutenant Commander Amy Forsythe. All right, Commander Amy, how are you doing today?
Hi, thank you. Wonderful. Nice welcome. Thank you so much for that warm welcome.
Man, I don't know how old you are, but it looks like you've had 3 lifetimes lived already. My goodness, things you've done for your country. It's just incredible. I'm so excited to have you here. I guess to get started, is there anything you are grateful for today?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Good health is what I'm grateful for today. And I know a lot of your listeners and your audience can probably relate to that is when we're feeling good, we're looking good, and our physical health is without it, we have nothing. So good health, feeling good today.
Absolutely. And we have someone from your neck of the wood, Patricia Garcia from San Diego. Thank you so much for being here, Tricia. And if you have a question for the commander, please type it in the comment. And also let us know what you are grateful for today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there something about you, commander, that most people may not know about?
Well, probably most people don't know this about me because I just learned myself a few years ago. A little tidbit, a fun fact that my grandmother, before she passed, did some genealogy research and learned that her great grandparents, I think, were offspring of the people who came over to the North America on the Mayflower ship.
Really?
So she did the research, found the birth certificates and the death certificates. So as a descendant of one of the guys, the men that came over on the Mayflower, that's what I learned. And that's probably what a lot of people don't know.
Wow, that is pretty amazing. So that takes you all the way back to the very beginning. Wow,
That's right.
that is good to know. So, what early experiences, whether in life, school, or in the Marine, first shaped your view of leadership?
Well, boy, so many leadership lessons learned really based around the centering around resiliency. I think that
Yes.
when you join the military, you have to have a thick skin because it's not for everyone,
Yes.
but you really have to have the will to carry on when someone is yelling at you or criticizing you or telling you what to do. You
Right.
have to be able to bounce back from that and
Mm.
move forward with clear eyes and an open mind and an open heart.
Wow. So, why did you join the Marine? Why did you enlist? That was back in '93. So Clinton was commander in chief back then.
Yeah, well, it always been in my heart to serve. I grew up with I spent a lot of time with my grandparents who were also in the military. My grandfather
Wow.
was a Marine and my grandmother was an Army nurse, and they met during World War II in the Pacific on the island of Guam, as it turns out. And so I heard their stories about service and the sacrifices that they made and the young people when they were young and the sacrifices made by those that served in World War II. So I thought, I want that. I want what they were doing. And, growing up in San Francisco, the Navy had a strong presence. The Marine Corps had a strong presence. The Fleet Weeks, the Blue Angels, the Marines walking down Broadway. I said, I want to do that. And so that was my passion. I wasn't going to take no for an answer when I went to try to enlist after high school. I was actually 22 when I enlisted. So, but by the time it came up for my turn to go to boot camp, I was 22, and it was after the Gulf War. But I said, that's for me. I don't want anything else, but I have to be a Marine.
Wow, that is really, really amazing. I mean, I remember. I think I told you in the green room, I never joined the Marine because I thought they were crazy, but it was very attractive. The few, the proud, the Marines. So there is nobody like you guys, just so crazy, and somebody has to do it. So thank God for people like you. But wow, that is amazing. And then you kind of rose through the ranks. You became a staff sergeant, and then you became a junior a Navy officer. How did that transition work out for you?
Well, I was a Marine all the way through. I was almost served 18 years in the Marine Corps, and
Wow.
I was informed about this program by a colonel I was working for. He said, "Hey, you should look at this commissioning program." And I thought, no way. I love the Marines. I didn't want to leave, but I applied, I got accepted,
Wow.
and it was the best decision I ever made because transitioning from a staff NCO with a
Mhm.
lot of years of experience but going into the Navy, it really opened up a lot of doors for me and
Yeah.
introduced me to people that I wouldn't have met in my network. And
Wow.
so grateful for that opportunity. The Navy truly was such a great place for me to level up and continue my career by serving and being able to leave a lasting impact on those people that I served with, that I worked for, that
Mm.
worked for me, and really just take my skills and expertise to a new level.
That is really something. So, as a public affairs officer or a communication leader, what qualities do you most look for in people on your team, and what differentiate effective media officer from the rest?
Yeah, so as a combat photographer, my expertise was in the tactical implications of photography, videography, storytelling, those tactics that I tried to transfer that into a more of a strategic thinker, an
Mm.
advisor, a coach for our senior military leaders and for people in the military in terms of creating a communication strategy. So what we look for in those people looking for that type of a job in communications is someone who can think big but
Mhm.
act individually with a lot of personality. I would say charisma. They're a people person, and they really want to serve their country by telling stories and connecting resources and shaping how the community, the public, the taxpayer views our military because we
Mhm.
want to bring in the next generation of top talent. How do we
Yes.
do that? We want sailors and Marines and soldiers and airmen and the Space Force Guardians
Yes.
to tell their story in a meaningful way. And so,
Mm.
how do we give them the tools and training so they can feel empowered to tell their own story, which will attract top talent?
Wow, that is incredible and so crucial, especially this day. So you've had a very long career in male-dominated fields, whether it's military, combat, journalism, and all of that. So, what advice would you give to aspiring women leaders seeking to break into these spaces?
Well, I would think that the military career path is certainly one I would recommend. Although, as I mentioned, it's not for everyone. But if
Mhm.
you're a woman looking for an opportunity to serve your country or serve in a higher capacity, joining the military, either enlisting or becoming an officer, could be even a part time opportunity within the reserves or National Guard. And I've been able to have two successful careers simultaneously while staying in their Navy reserves and then also working in communication. So it's a layered approach.
Mm.
But I think for anyone looking to level up, improve, or expand their network of professionals, joining the military is definitely one way to do that.
Well, and we mentioned your book, Heroes Live, your best selling book about Camp Pendleton. What brought you to the point where you felt like you needed to write such a
Well,
insightful book?
people had always been asking me or suggesting, Amy, you should write a
Yes.
book. And I thought, oh, never, no way. I didn't feel that I was even remotely qualified to write a book. But after years and years of deployments and storytelling, I had tens of thousands of photos. And what do I do with all these photos? How do I share this for a wider audience beyond just social media? So I started putting together photos of Camp Pendleton and researching the history of the base, which I had already known about because I was stationed there for many years. And I thought, let me put this together. And so I did a collection of other stories from
Mm.
other contributors who also were stationed in Camp Pendleton, and then just put this book together in 2022, right at the height of COVID. I thought, what better way to really use my creative outlets to share the story of Camp Pendleton, and the community has been just overwhelmingly supportive, and I couldn't be more grateful, and it's exceeded all my expectations of how to write a book, how to get it published, and how to
Yeah.
communicate those particular stories that no one else really knows about.
Man, I think it really gets to those personal stories. To me, anybody who's ever served and those who only served for one day who've worn our country's uniform, they are heroes, really, because so few people raise the hand and answer the call. A lot of people know how to criticize the military, but so few of us actually sign up and do the work. So it's really important. It is amazing to put the spotlight on these American heroes, no male, women, black, white, it doesn't matter what they do for our country is just beyond belief. Wow. What do you think? What do you hope for the impact of your book, maybe in the next 20 or 30 years from now? Have you thought about that?
Well, what I learned in my research about Camp Pendleton is that a book hadn't been written in about 12 or 15 years on the history of the base. So I thought,
Mhm.
well, why not take a snippet of Camp Pendleton the last 20 years? So when I researched it, I realized that I learned that more Marines from Camp Pendleton were killed in action from after 9/11 to 2021. So that 20-year span, there
Wow.
were more than 1,000 Marines from that stepped off from Camp Pendleton that were killed in Iraq or Afghanistan. So I thought for the Gold Star families and the Marines that were served with those that we lost,
Yes.
it's a tribute book. And so it's really a coffee table book. It's more than 200 pages, more than 150 photos, and just a snippet in time that tells the story of that era. So from the very
Yes.
first Marines that were killed in Afghanistan to the very last, and those were the ones at the Abbey Gate in August of 2021, they
Hmm.
were at Camp Pendleton as well. So that was like the final chapter of the book. And it's truly an honor to be able to share that story for
Yes.
history, for kids to learn about their names, and it's all in one book. And I've been so
Yes.
lucky that libraries are really reached out to me and want to have the book in their collection, and so it's
Uh,
just been really a great journey.
No, thank you. Thanks so much for all of the work you do, which really brings me to my next question. How in the world do you balance military service, authorship, community engagement, mentoring, and sitting on boards and everything you do? You're only one woman. How do you prioritize your time and your energy?
Well, my husband tells me I need to downshift a little bit, but I recently just retired from the Navy Reserve, so I feel that that really just a nice way to end my career, and it frees up more time to do other things and really explore, travel, rest a little bit. But I think if someone's looking at how to manage and juggle a busy schedule, calendar management and
Mm,
understanding how to schedule things is so important, and have automation and systems set up so that you can prioritize what needs to be done, what has to be done, and what are
yes.
optional things. So, what I've learned in the past few years, especially, is to really be able to automate my systems with calendar tools, and understand that you can't say yes to everything, but you have to say no to some things, and prioritize a good schedule as a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day calendar, and manage those things.
Wow, that is really something. Okay, we are about to go ahead and switch over to the second segment of the show where I really drill deep into leadership. Uh, One of the first questions I would ask you is first, how do you define success? Because I feel like it's a different definition for everyone, even for yourself. I'm sure within a period of time, your definition of success might change a little bit. What does success look like for you today?
Well, at one point in our careers, we would have to say success equals a title, a high
Mhm.
paying job, a position of authority, a position where you're supervising people. But, as we get older, really that changes. And that's
Yes.
okay to change, because authority fades, but impact is enduring. And so
Mm,
back and say, what kind of impact did I have? Do I have people that I'm still in touch with? Do I check on their progress. And, there's a saying in the Marines that you're not a leader until you make other leaders. And so as, stepping back from the workplace and stepping back into a more of a coaching role instead of the doer role, but how many leaders have I made? How many people have I propped up to get the next rank or take my position when I leave, and grooming people for their own maximum potential? And if you can count all the people that you've had a hand in inspiring and making an impact, that to me is success. And so when you look back and say, when the titles are gone, the money is gone, you say, I've made other leaders. And that to me is what success is. And now that when you're over 50, you say, really, the most important thing is when you make other leaders.
That is so critical. That's what my primary mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, calls significance. You go from success to significance. And he says, once you test significance, success will no longer satisfy. And that is so true. Because for most people, when they want success, is me, myself, and I want this, I want the title, I want the money, I want the job, I want the car, blah, blah, blah. But once you get there, it's kind of feel empty unless you give back, right? You help somebody else reach their potential. And it's really interesting in the military, whether it's the Navy, the Marine Corps, where you've served as well, or the Air Force and the other branches. It seems like the organization is really built to forge leaders, right? It's even at the lowest rank. Like I remember when I was just an E1 21 years ago, even then I didn't have any huge responsibility, but I felt like the Navy was forcing me to become independent, critical thinker and a leader within my unit, regardless of rank. That's not something you see in the industry very much.
Yes, and the young people who will take on greater challenges, and especially in the military or in industry, they need every advantage they can get. So if people like us can pass along lessons learned and all the mistakes we've made, and make sure that they know how to succeed and take what we've done and build on that and go further and go faster, I think that that's our calling. We really have to share that information. It doesn't do us any good if we take that to the grave and we don't share it with the next generation, and then they're just going to repeat the mistakes and not achieve anything. They'll just keep repeating those same mistakes we made. So I feel that that's the biggest calling.
Well, that's exactly why I have this podcast and why I wanted you to be on the show. So thank you so much for being here. You are sharing so much knowledge with the audience. So another question I have for you is, what do you think is the greatest lesson you've ever learned, just in life, leadership in general?
Well, two things, actually. Well, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Wow. Say that again, please.
It's nice to be important, to be an important position, an important person, but it's more important to be nice or kind. I feel like people don't remember what you did, but they definitely remember how you made them feel. And so when you can make an impact on someone by being curious about them and showing an interest, you know how it makes you feel when someone's interested in you, genuinely wants to know more about you.
Yes.
And then the other thing really is, don't take no for an answer. So many times people told me, no, you can't do that, or not right now, or I'll think about it. And just find a way to make a way, but don't take no for an answer. There's always going to be a way to get to where you want to go. You might have to go around or do different things or wait and be patient, but finding a way, I've always found a way to get to where I wanted to go. And I didn't let anyone say, no, you can't. So someone might say no, but get to the person who will say, yes, we can do that, or we'll make that happen. So those are the things that I really want people to know. Don't take no for an answer.
That is so powerful. I think that's really a master key for success. No, I'm sure you, being a woman in the military, the Marine Corps, the Navy, you had to go through a lot of no's to get to where you are now. But thank you for not giving up. It's wow, incredible. Yeah, I think for people watching, if that's the only advice you get from this show, it is worth your time. It's worth every every penny. Wow. So what do you think then is the secret from your success? Starting at, as a junior enlisted in the Marine, you know, you spent like 18 years staff sergeant and then starting over again. Now, you didn't make E7, but E6 is close enough. I've seen some of my PR sailor who were chief in the Navy E7 and then they became an ensign. To me, that's a huge demotion because you start at the very, very bottom again. But anyway, you've really had an incredible career. What do you believe is the secret of your outstanding success?
Well, I think resiliency is important. And when I went from being a staff NCO, a staff sergeant in the Marines, I was in charge of a lot of things and deployed and had
Mhm.
a lot of influence over people, to becoming an ensign, which is an O1. It's like a
Yeah.
baby officer. They
Yeah.
sit in the corner until someone talks to you. You're not in charge of anything just yet.
Yes.
That was one of the biggest transitions that I had to go through in my life,
Can
but it was
imagine.
humbling for me. And so I feel that that really helped me to relearn and regain confidence. And so
Mm.
I feel that when you start over and you are on a new path, everyone can start over or learn
Yes.
something new. Or I had to learn a lot about the
Mm.
Navy. I did not know a lot. I thought I did, but I didn't. So that was very humbling. But honestly, I felt that that was a great way for me to start over and expand
Wow.
my mind. I went in with an open mind and an open heart. And I felt like that because I was hungry, I was hardworking, and it humbled me. It really meant something to me because I felt like I earned it.
Wow. That is powerful. So, what do you think is the greatest leadership advice you've ever received?
Well, I think trying to be all things to all people
Mm.
is a mistake. I think when you
Yes.
understand your own potential and you work from conviction, people are not always going to like you, but you always have to follow your heart. You have to do what's right by you
Mm.
within the boundaries of the guidelines and the rules and the regulations. And everyone has their own style. So
Yes.
trying not to be somebody I'm not. I always just was myself. I didn't try to fit
Mm.
it. I didn't try to be more masculine or
Yes.
try to downplay myself. I would always ask
Wow.
questions. I was just me. And I feel that for people coming up through the ranks or coming up through the corporate leadership, just be
Mm.
yourself, be curious, ask a lot
Yes.
of questions, because there's other people who are afraid to ask questions. So be the leader, ask the questions. There's
Mm.
going to be someone watching you and learning from that.
Wow. So much wisdom. That is so important, especially when I became a commanding officer. That's where I really, really learned that you absolutely cannot satisfy everyone. You can try to, I don't know, put yourself backward and bent into shape to try to please people, but you just will not be able to. There was that 1 or 2% of people in my unit, for whatever reason, they just didn't like me. They hated me for, I didn't do anything to them, but that's just the way it is. I don't know if you've ever been at a place where someone complains about you to the IG and you go through this stupid investigation, almost not losing your sleep, and you like, no, especially when you're thinking, well, when I was a seaman or seaman recruit, I could go through an investigation. I don't know, Captain Mass or whatever. I don't care. I don't have much to lose. I just got started. I've only been in the Navy for a year or two, whatever. Goodbye. But once you've been in for 17, 19, 20 years, you might have a retirement, a pension, and like you feel like everything is on the line. And then you go through an experience like that. I mean, it can be traumatic. But it is still worth it though for the lives that you do affect and change. But yeah,
Yeah. And you're not doing it right if you haven't experienced that before, and which I have
yeah,
as well. And
crazy.
you have to, it builds your resilience, but it builds
Yes.
your conviction too, because
Mm.
you really learn a lot about human nature, and you understand how people operate and what they're thinking. You just can't please
Yeah.
everyone. So long as you're on the right path and you know the regulations,
Mm.
guidelines, what you're doing is right, um,
Yes.
you'll come out okay.
Wow, that is powerful. Yeah, it goes back to resiliency, like you mentioned, being humble. having a good attitude, open mind, and don't be all things to all people. That is so powerful. So, as a leader, what are you learning right now?
Well, what I'm learning about volunteering and managing time and time management, every leader really has to protect their time.
Mhm.
I'm trying to learn more about saying no or postponing things that I might want to do, but my advice to the leaders coming up now, protect your time in
Yes.
terms of scheduling, because when you're overbooked and overscheduled, you're not giving the people around you your 100% attention. And so the FOMO, the fear of missing out, you have to take in the JOMO, the joy of missing out, and understand the
Wow.
balance of where you stand and how much your bandwidth. Because when you try to do too much, which I have been trying to do too much in the past couple years, I feel
Mhm.
that I haven't been giving my 100% to the things that I care about most.
Wow.
So leaders out there learning how to schedule the priorities and say no. And Oprah Winfrey talked about this
Yes.
about 20 years ago. And I thought, well, you want to do everything. You want to maximize your
Mm,
life. But she talked about saying no years
yes.
ago. And now I'm really understanding what that means.
Wow. Extreme prioritization. That is so crucial for success. So, before I ask you the next question, let me know if you're willing to talk about this. But of all of the medals and award and honors you've received, I got the wrong picture. This one, which one of your medal means the most to you?
Well, there's no doubt about it that the medals that mean the most to me it's a little red and dark blue. It's called
Yeah,
the Navy Marine Corps a Good Conduct Award.
yeah.
And what that is,
Only enlisted people get it.
that's right. It's only for enlisted, and that just means that you didn't get into any trouble or you weren't
Yes,
caught for anything. So those are the ones I'm most proud of. Of
yes.
course, the combat related, the combat operations, Iraqi
Hmm.
freedom, Afghan freedom, the NATO
Yes,
medals, all are important. But the Navy Marine Corps Good Conduct, or the the Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal
yes.
too, mean a lot to me. In
Wow.
the scheme of things.
That's very very powerful. Yeah, because it's really interesting in the military. You can look at someone's chest and know their entire military history. It's incredible. I guess officers are always expected to conduct themselves good, so no need for a medal for that. So that's one of the medals that means the most to me too. But in addition to me, it's also the I guess they call it MOVS now, military. What is it called? The volunteer medal.
Yes, the Outstanding Volunteer
Outstanding volunteer
Service Medal.
service. Yes,
Yes.
that is the one. Because really, the truth is, our armed forces is really truly a force for good compared to most militaries from all of the other countries out there. It's just incredible what we do and the work we do to maintain freedom and democracy, not just here in America, but really around the world. But wow, fantastic. Okay, next question I'm going to ask you. One of my CEO gave me this coin. It has success and failure, two sides of the same coin. So we know about all of your great successes, but how has failure shaped your life?
Well, I think failure is a great lesson to learn. The saying, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And so those
Mm,
failures really can be good teachers in life. I think one of a failure I had, I bought a business, a small little map business. It was a tourist map business. And in order to keep the business going, to produce the maps that would be for tourism in San Diego, you had to sell ads. And what I realized
mm,
about myself is that I'm not a salesperson. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like the sales. So I took that as, well, you're a failure if you don't know how to sell and you couldn't sell. Or so I sold the business, and at a discounted rate, because I hadn't produced a map, because I didn't sell enough ads.
mm.
So that's just one example. But I think once you learn things about yourself, you can dial in your algorithm. Like, what do I like? What is it going to provide me? What is life going to be shaped by the things that I'm
Yes.
good at? What do I like to do?
So don't punish yourself with the things you don't like to do. Find the path that is connected to your passions and your purpose in life.
That is so powerful. Can you share about what was the darkest or most difficult season of your leadership journey and how you got through it?
Well, I bet every veteran who's ever served in Iraq and Afghanistan, especially in a dangerous environment, would say serving in a combat zone, you volunteer and you say, I want to go, send me. I'm up for this mentally, physically, emotionally. I can do it. And when in my deployment to Iraq, and this was in Anbar province, Iraq, some of your listeners might remember places like Fallujah, Ramadi, Al-Assad. There we go. That was in the Ramadi Government Center in Iraq. When you go to places like that, you're just not emotionally prepared when every day there are casualties, severe casualties, severe injuries, death, people you are close to. And having to keep going day in and day out. It was very dark and emotionally stunted, emotionally draining, physically draining to lose people on a daily basis. And so when you go through that, you go, gosh, if I can just make it out alive, I will do everything I can to pay honor and tribute to those that were lost and live my life to the maximum extent possible for being spared. So that was I'd never experienced anything like that. So when I say be careful what you wish for, and you say, I want to go to combat, I want to be at the front lines, I want to serve in that capacity, you really have to be careful what you wish for, because once you get it, you go, boy, this is a lot harder than I expected, that I was in store for. But it can, because it's a trick. It can be addicting. So I went back in 2008, then I went back to Afghanistan in 2013, and then again in 18. So it's this cycle of addiction. And say I thrive in that environment, on the edge and taking risks. And so what I realized, there was a pattern of saying, I'll go because I enjoy that sort of high up tempo, on the front lines, at the edge, walking a very tight rope of being in danger all the time, just risking everything. I realized that can be very alluring, but it's also very dangerous.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your service, and for those watching, that's really what it means to take that oath, right, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I know for me, part of the reason why I wanted to serve was after 9/11. I was definitely 100% in for Afghanistan. Iraq, not so sure why we went there, but at any rate, once you have the uniform, you're gonna go wherever your country sends you. But yeah, it's really amazing the sacrifices that our veterans have made for this country. And part of the reason why I start this show with being grateful is because, as you know, 21, 22 veterans every single day in America commit suicide. It's really an epidemic. Our veterans really go through a lot. But yeah, for those watching, if you can support your veterans, that's really all we can ask for. Okay, let me ask you now. Who are some of your mentors and thought leaders, people that you follow, that we should know about, that we probably should follow as well?
Yeah, well, one of my favorites, you asked me about this earlier, was Admiral William
Yeah.
McCrae, and some of my favorite little books, The
Mm-hmm.
Hero Code, and author of Make Your Bed. That's
Yeah.
right. It's just easy, practical advice coming from
Yes.
such a senior leader that could be applied to any circumstance, anyone at any stage
Yes.
in their lives. And so those are just some of the life lessons. He talked about his time
Yes.
being a SEAL and say, I can relate to that, and the hardships that he's gone through.
Mm.
I think people are born a 4-star admiral or a 4-star general. They also had their challenges through life.
Yes.
So following some of their steps and guidance
Mm.
that they've already suffered, I don't have to suffer
Yes.
again, if they could share some of that wisdom. So
And then just some great actual real people in my life that I look to for examples and an enduring impact of they continue their service, they volunteer their time, they're in the community trying to make a difference, doing real things in life, whether it's a beach cleanup or helping kids or volunteering on the weekends to, help veterans or dog rescue or things like that. There's always just heroes that don't always get the recognition they deserve.
Yes, I'm saying it was back to your saying earlier, right? People never may forget what you say, but never forget the way you make them feel. And I think each one of us can do something even small to really make a difference. It looks like so. We have another comment from LinkedIn. Patricia Gassa says Amy rocks, and I absolutely agree. She rocks. All right, and another thing about the admiral. One of my best skipper actually worked for him. Admiral William McRaven. He's actually the one who got Osama bin Laden. Pretty incredible guy. Have you ever had a chance to meet with him?
I have
Okay.
not. No.
He does have a TED talk, which is really great. And yeah, and my skipper, she used to give those books to all of her bestseller. Of course, I got one of them. Very simple. It's not a big book. You can read it pretty quickly, but it's really meaningful when you put it into practice. All right. So, if you could choose three people to have dinner with, who would you choose and why? They could be alive, dead, or even mythical figures.
Well, I definitely would say Margaret Thatcher, who was
Mhm.
the former prime
Iron
minister.
Lady. Yeah.
Yes, the Iron Lady. She just seemed like such a strong woman up against all odds, but left a very lasting legacy that people
Yeah.
could do.
I have a book here. She was pretty formidable. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's wonderful. I would say if everyone is on the table, maybe Jesus,
Hmm.
for sure, and then maybe another Brit, Winston Churchill.
Yeah, Churchill. Yeah.
Yes. So when they have made such a lasting legacy on shaping culture, uh,
Mm,
you realize that their wisdom is just timeless. And so, or
yes.
any of the Stoics would definitely fit in that category. It's timeless. It's applicable to the human condition. And
Mhm.
had I only learned about the Stoics earlier on in life, and I think that's just something that needs to be taught in schools or taught in the
Yes.
military, just some of these basic teachings about framing life and
Mhm.
how to take on life's challenges.
Yes. I think when you say Winston Churchill, one of the things he's most known for is when he says never give up. In the face of authoritarianism and nazism, he was like the rock that really England needed. I think without a leader like him, English people would be speaking German today. But yeah, it's very uh, inspirational. So when we talk about books, so definitely want everybody to get a copy of your book. So I know they can go to Amazon and get it. How can they get a signed copy?
Well, I'd love to. I always love signing the books because it adds a personal touch from me, and I get to know
Yes.
who it goes to, and then the person receiving it can have a nice note from me. But I'd love to connect with people on LinkedIn, and they can like, follow, share, and then
Mhm.
go from there and send me a message. I can send you the link to order and have a signed copy sent from directly from me to you.
Fantastic. So that's LinkedIn, Amy Forsythe. Very easy. Thank you so much. And of course, you already mentioned this book, Make Your Bed. Why do you recommend this book briefly?
Well, I think some of the lessons in there and the advice that he provides is easy, actionable, and it's for everyone. It's not just some high level deep thinking. It's just some
Yes.
basic things. When you can have basic wins every day, it
Mm,
sets you up for success to go on and do greater things. And so
powerful.
it's easy to read, great lessons in there, and it's applicable
Mm.
for everyone.
Yeah, I like what it says in subtitle, little things that can change your life. Sometimes people think they need to do big things one time to change things, but it's the little thing you do consistently, day in, day out, and every day. It kind of uh, which word am I? Consolidate, I guess, and then it really makes a big difference. All right, and what about this book, the Hero Code?
Yeah, I love this one. He really talks about his time being a SEAL and, some of these lessons learned about the compassion
Yeah,
and being a person of integrity. And it just calls us to make every action count, that it will be moral, legal, and ethical. And so
yes,
when you live by a certain code, especially in the military, and you're dealing with people and people's lives, and
yes.
people are at risk for life and limb, you have to have a
Mm,
certain higher level code, and it's laid out in here in such an
integrity.
easy, wonderful way to,
Powerful.
yeah.
Powerful. So, what is the song, the book, or a movie that would be your life's theme or anthem?
Oh boy. So many. Music has always just been a big part of my life. So my
Mhm.
first job in the military, I was actually a radio DJ in
Really?
Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I was playing music, and I always tried to use songs that were meaningful. And I grew up, my parents loved music, so
Ah,
playing music of the 50s and the 60s was just such a treat. And the music of that era
mhm.
shaped who we are
Which
today.
which song would be the best one that you remember?
Well, I'm such a big Jimmy Buffett fan, I would
Jimmy
say.
Buffett.
So any of Jimmy Buffett's songs are written with precision, with
Yeah,
great poetry. Um, oh,
yeah. I guess they don't make songs like that
I
anymore.
they don't. So anything by Jimmy Buffett, Bob Seger, some of the lyrics in there are
Mhm.
just amazing. Um, eh,
Okay, I'm gonna push you just a little bit. One song by Jimmy Buffett and one by Bob Seger. Just one.
Okay, the Jimmy Buffett song I would love to share with you is A Pirate Looks at 40.
Yeah,
Uh, and Bob Seger's
that's a good
song,
one.
I have it on my playlist. Um, it I just love it, and it talks about where are they now and 20 years later, of
Hmm.
how people think back 20 years ago.
Yes.
Still the Same is always a good one.
Yeah,
Um,
that is quite powerful. And one reason why I love asking this, like, I know for people our generation, 9/11 really changed everything. I think the other thing that changed everything was the global pandemic of 2020. But I think for most people, there is a song, there is a sound. They remember, once they hear it, it takes them back to that time. They know exactly where they were, what they were listening to. And that can be very inspirational and uh, anyway, motivating as well. Thank you so much for sharing that.
yes, so many great songs.
Yes.
Um, Like a Rock, that's the song
Hmm.
I had in my tip of my tongue, Like a Rock. And
Yeah.
you think back to the people especially that you coming to your life when you serve early in your
Yes.
military career, and you think, where are they now? But standing strong, and you just sometimes you think
Mm,
about them late at night, and you say, "Oh, I hope they're doing
yes.
well." And um, so
Powerful.
many hundreds and thousands of people that you come in contact through your life,
Yes.
and you remember them at certain times. Just something will trigger, say, "Oh, I remember that person," or hope that
Yes.
person's doing well.
Again, back to what you said. No, people will never forget the way you make them feel, and be kind. Wow, I've never heard it said quite like that before. I wrote it down. It is nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. That is so powerful. Okay, what is one thing you think you have done in your life or your career that has positively impacted your life?
Well, definitely joining the Marines was
Yes.
absolutely a game changer for me. I'd even hate to think of where I would be right now without that. Coming
Yeah.
from a small little town in Northern California, not many people leave,
Mhm.
but it's too expensive to go back and live there. But that's definitely one thing that changed my trajectory forever. And then
Yes.
joining the Navy from there,
Yes.
it really took it to the next level. And so
Mm,
going from an enlisted to an officer, from Marines to Navy, and then pursuing my civilian job of working in TV and being working professional. Those are the things when you take a leap of faith and be open to change is when you can really start to see growth. And if you are just, don't be always married to the outcome. You have to have some open doors. So try not to plan too far in advance. I just take things as they come and not have an expectation that I'm only on this path. You have to be open to, hey, I never thought of that, or I didn't even know that program existed. So open to opportunities out there.
Powerful. Get out of your comfort zone. That is so powerful. So is there an action that you are thinking about taking now that you think will positively impact your life?
Well, taking a leap of faith and saying I'm going to retire, or which I just did from the Navy. There's some sort of anxiety about giving up your uniform, giving up your title, and giving up the life raft, if you will. But saying I've made the right strategic decisions to do so, and the uncertainty about that, but I think timing was right for me. Almost 33 years in the military, and just to really have an open calendar for the first time in 33 years, just having an open opportunity, and I'm open to whatever may come. And so maybe writing another book in the next year, taking a different direction, and talking about that in my head, talking it over with myself about, do I want to go down that road, or coaching other people? It's the number one question I get all the time is, how do I write a book? And people come to me all the time asking for advice. So about coaching people on how to do that is something that I'm open to doing and looking at as well.
Powerful. Thank you so much. So if you wake up in the morning and you had a magic wand and you could solve any problem, which one problem would you like to solve?
Well, veterans' causes are near and dear to my heart. I think the veterans' health crisis, I think that there's too many veterans out there suffering needlessly because they haven't been given the tools for a healthy lifestyle. So I would say the alcohol or opioid addictions, learning how to live in a healthy environment is just one thing that could solve a lot of problems. But I don't think that they're given the tools to do so. I think that over-prescribing veterans is a real crisis right now. Of all the thousands of crises out there, but for veterans in particular, over-prescribing medication for things that could be easily solved with physical fitness, getting outdoors, connecting with other veterans. Those 4 currencies that we have out there is time, money, knowledge, and skill. How are we sharing those and providing connections? It's a big puzzle out there, and how do we put the pieces of the puzzle together?
That is powerful. And also for the veterans who are watching, it's very, very important to ask for help, especially male. I think most female I've met in the military, they are smarter than most men I know. They always know how to ask for help. But many men, they feel like they are macho, too much testosterone. I don't know what's wrong with us. But yeah, it's okay to ask for help. And I remember the time in the Navy where if you had mental issues, you saw a psychologist or psychiatrist, you might even lose your security clearance. So people would just keep their mouth shut. But that has changed a lot recently. So if you need help, you definitely need to speak up.
Yes. And with podcasts like yours and information's accessible at their fingertips, there's so many great influencers out there talking about health and fitness and food and diet, things that could really help people. I wish I had that when I was growing up, or early in my career, because none of that was accessible. But now we have inspiration and people that are providing information for free of charge that you could, if you just are looking for it and say, I need to get out of the cycle of too much screen time, or not healthy habits, or their circle of friends are not very
Yes.
helpful, there's ways to break free from that. And so many great life hacks out
Mm,
there. And to improve the quality of your sleep and your life and your food, there's ways
yes.
to do that.
Wow. We have a couple of minutes left. I think I can land this plan. Let me ask you one more question. If you had one and only one day to live, what would you have liked your final contribution to be?
Well, nothing beats the beach. So I think that definitely going
Yes.
to the beach, it's so healing, it's so powerful. The ocean water has magical healing
Oh, that's good.
powers. Well, there I am there.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a Taj Mahal, I think. That's the pool.
that's right.
Yeah.
A magical travel trip to India. That was very
Yes.
powerful. But spending time in the water, growing up along the coast, I spent 5 years living on Guam.
Wow.
So to me, the beach and the water and the ocean is just a magical experience. But our beaches these days need help. They need cleanup. They need
Yes.
restoring. And so whether it was a combination of just spending the day at the beach or making an impact by cleaning up the beach and inspiring
Yes.
others to do so and make a commitment to it is important.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're coming to the end. How can we add value back to you?
Well, thank you so much for hosting me and the work that you do to
Absolutely.
encourage people, amplifying voices that don't always get out there, especially women. So
Yes.
thank you for doing that.
Yes.
I love to connect with people on LinkedIn. If I could be a resource for other veterans, people in the military, they're looking for a commissioning program, a
Yes.
college program, writing a book, sharing their story. So storytelling is so important. Setting up systems to automate your planning, how to
Mhm.
create a life that where you're maximizing your impact and maximizing your potential are ways to do that. So stay hungry, hardworking, and humble. But I appreciate the opportunity to connect with
Thank
people out
you
there.
so much. And also, Patricia asked what she definitely wants a book signed by you. So what does she need to do in order to get it?
Oh, wonderful, Trisha. Yes, I will reach out to her with a link where
Yeah.
she can purchase a copy
Fantastic.
here.
And
Yeah.
she's from San Diego as well. Okay, so we are at the very end. Before we end, let me ask you: is there a question you wish I had asked that I haven't asked yet?
Oh, that's a good one. No, we covered so much territory. I think
Fantastic.
storytelling for leaders and the integration of AI
Yes.
are big, and I know you're big on that
Mhm.
too. Um, you know the old saying, right? You're never too old to learn something
Yes.
new. So right now, catching that wave of AI and
Mm.
integrating it into people's workflows, or even home life and your
Yes.
household, um, those are the things I'm into right now. I'm learning
Mm.
how to use AI, and I think that uh, even people wherever they are in their stage of life, they can use
Yes.
AI. It's been a game changer for me.
Wow. That is good to know. Okay, the last question I think is the most important one. If you could go back and give a piece of advice to your 17-year-old self, standing at the edge of this incredible career you've had in the Marine Corps, the Navy, enlisted officer, and everything you've done, best-selling author, and all of that, what would you say to your 17-year-old self?
I would say don't lose sleep worrying
Mm.
about things you cannot change. I think a lot of us
Wow.
lose sleep over things because we don't know better. So don't worry about the things you can't change. Just have the
Yes.
wisdom to know the difference, right? The serenity
Yes.
prayer.
Yes. All right. Okay. Now it's gonna be lighting round, no rapid fire. So don't take too much to think. But really quick. One
Okay.
word that defines great leadership. One word.
Consistency.
Okay. Morning routine or practice that keeps you grounded.
A cold dunk, a cold plunge.
Okay. Book or quotes that change your life.
Um, I think
Or music.
the serenity
Serenity
prayer.
prayer. Yes, I like that. Okay. Who inspire you the most today?
You,
Really? Wow, thank you. You are the third person who has told me that. Okay, I'm always surprised, but thank you. All right, finish your sentence. Leadership is...
Getting the best out of others to make them more successful.
Powerful. Okay, what did you want to do when you were a kid?
I didn't know. I had no plans. I had
Nothing at all?
no ideas in terms of profession. Maybe an airline stewardess at one
Okay.
point. Yeah.
Okay. I guess no, the Navy, maybe the Air Force comes close. Okay, good. What are 3 adjectives describing you as a child?
Curious.
2 more.
Yeah. Mischievous
Okay, 1 more.
and independent.
Okay, as an adult?
Not much has changed. I'm still very
Wow.
curious. I'm still very independent, but I was described once as being tenacious.
Yes. That is so important for... okay, we have 1 more comment. Okay, Patricia, great question, answer. Thank you. All right, now this is truly the last question. After this, we are done. 1 word that represents our shared experience on this podcast today. 1 word.
Inspirational.
Okay. And I am always grateful. Thank you so much, Commander Amy Forsythe, U.S. Navy Reserve retired. Thank you for your service and everything you've done for our country. Such a great delight and joy and privilege to have you on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right. Wow. All right, everyone. This was the Commander, and I hope you really got a lot from it. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow I'm going to be back on the show, and I'm going to have a 10-minute AI recap on the interview I had with Dominic Shelton, Leipzig, CEO, privacy and cyber advisor. And the 1 hour interview we had with her on the podcast, we are going to be able to give you the highlight in 10 minutes or less. That's going to be tomorrow morning. So thanks again for being with us today. And until next time, this is Coach Busy. And thank you so much for watching the Leadership and Success podcast. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.